Today we are going to learn how to take new wood like this, strip wood, and turn it into old and aged wood like this. We'll learn different techniques for staining and weathering the wood, even adding knots to the wood in our build of Sierra West's Dueling Shacks. First thing we're going to do is weather this wood for the wooden shack. What we're looking for is to get some weathered wood like this. We don't want it to be real even, and there are a few ways you can do that, but I will talk about what Brett or the instructions recommend. So we're going to take a few of these, do a few at a time, maybe 4 or 5. There's 5 of them, and he suggests it's best done on a piece of glass, but glass would reflect too much for this camera, so I'm going to use just a piece of wax paper. And I believe the benefit of this that he's trying to get to is the alcohol we'll be using to apply the weathering will not be absorbed in this material. It will stay there and build up into a kind of a paste that we can also use as a weathering tool. So what we're going to do is get some rubbing alcohol, just plain old isopropyl, either 70 or 90%, and put some in a bottle like this, and then have that available. Okay. Get a sort of a soft brush you can use, lay out the wood, but first thing we're going to do is try to give it some texture. First few ways we can give it some texture. One is, this is a plumber's cleaning steel brush, very rigid steel bristles, which will make a nice texture. You can also use these brass brushes. They're not quite as stiff as the steel, but they are very stiff, and they can make a nice texture in soft wood. But I also like to use the edge of a razor saw. Depends on the kind of texture you want, the size of your scale, and so on. Now I'm doing O scale, so I can afford to have a little bigger texture and grooves than maybe HO or even smaller. But I'm going to lay them down, take the edge of the blade like this, and just drag it across the wood. Gotta hold on to them, but do that a couple times, both directions, always away from your body just to be safe. So we got this plumber's brush. Hear that probably dragging across. I like that. Okay. Now we're ready to add some color. Now, a lot of people use black washes of all kinds. Alcohol wash, acrylic wash, and those work well, but I've learned a new method from these instructions that Brett gave that I like a lot. And I'll show you what that is, and that uses chalks. Now, I got away from chalks because I tried to use them in the past. Got some fairly inexpensive artist chalks and ground them up. You can get something like these little spice grinders, and I just rub the chalk on there. It collects in the bin. Then you can put it in individual cups or little containers. I keep the broken chalk in there so I know which chalk made which color, but inside, you know, there's the chalk dust that I've created. You can see there. Okay, so I was doing that, but it didn't seem to adhere very well, so probably operator error. But in any case, I ended up switching to powders, commercial powders, which I like. Brett swears by a certain brand of chalks, and he thinks that makes the difference, and I believe he's absolutely right. So these Rembrandt brand chalks, this is a variation of burnt sienna colors, but they're more expensive than cheaper chalks at the craft store, although you can find these in sets usually at Michael's or something. But these chalks make a difference. There's something about them, I don't know what it is, but you can almost feel it. So what he suggests is get one of your chalks and blade, just randomly scrape the edge of the chalk. You can see that hopefully on the wood, right? And you don't want to put too much thought into it, he says. Just scrape it so it's random, otherwise you might get it too uniform. Then you take that rubbing alcohol I showed you and your soft brush, and with a little bit of the alcohol just spread it around, sort of paint the alcohol, and this will make for a random appearance. Just keep dipping it in the alcohol and rubbing that across the sticks. If it gets too thick or the color, a little more alcohol will dilute it, but hopefully you can see the randomness there that created, which is just what you want. Weathering in a live environment is not uniform. So this is a method I think I'm going to continue from now on. I like that. Another thing that I have done in the past was, and I've done that with these, if you remember, this is what the original sticks look like. Quite blonde, light color. These have a little more weathering in them, right? Well, I used the old vinegar and steel wool trick, which a lot of you may know. Take maybe 8 ounces of vinegar, just distilled white vinegar, and add a piece of steel wool to it, a clump. You can tear it up, that might help. And anywhere from 1 to 3 days, seal it up, let that steel wool react to the vinegar, and then you've got what my friend calls pickle mix. You spray that on any wood. It works well on metal as well, and it will usually create a random pattern. Now these, you can see, I don't know if you can tell, but one of these is more gray than the other. So that's just a start, because I like what this chalk does. So what I think I'm going to do is texture these and now do some of that chalk weathering to them, and hopefully I will get yet a different pattern from different colors from the other ones I just did, because I think the more that I have in different colors, the better it will look. Actually, I'm going to try, just to see what it looks like, I'm going to try a little different color here. It's a little different burnt sienna color. Let's scrape some on. Okay, that's all it takes, not much. And then some rubbing alcohol. Definitely going to have a different appearance here. Okay. See if I can dilute some of that a little bit. And you can see the slurry it's making on the bottom on the wax paper. So I will let those dry on this side, and then flip them and do the other side. I'll show you my little drying setup I use here. I have the simple little space heater, just cheap heater I got at Walmart or something, and then I laid a piece of wood out here as a base under it and put this box around it so that the heat goes in here and it sort of stays and then dries off whatever's inside. And that's a quick way to get things dried so I can move on a little faster. There are some more ways Brett suggests you can weather these boards, and I like the idea of going across the grain or across the length in any manner you want, but often on boards you will see saw blade marks that go perpendicular to the length. So I would do something like this, and different spots. You could also, of course, use these steel brushes that we talked about, but just take maybe a number 11 blade that's kind of dull. You can scrape with the grain to make some of them deeper, across the grain to make some marks. Okay, now these you probably can't see these on the camera, but I would recommend doing those. You'll see them in person if the viewer can get close to your model. Another idea that looks really good that I had never heard before from Brett was making knots. Now here's one that I made. I don't know if you can see that, but it doesn't take much. You don't want it to be too obvious, but take a blade, make a small hole with it. Again, the size of this will depend maybe on your scale, but then take a toothpick. Okay, got a toothpick here, fine point, put that in the hole. Okay, and then depending on how large you want the knot, push it deeper. I can use nail clippers, or I use these sprue cutters and clip it off both sides. And now you've got a little knot. Now you can hardly see it, but we're looking at the end grain of the toothpick now, as opposed to the side grain of the rest of the wood. So when we put in stain over this, another dark stain or wash, it'll bring that knot out like this, so you can see it better. Okay, now for this I'll use, just to show you how it works a little different, this Enamel Wash, and there are many different brands. I just happen to use MIG, but I take a little bit of that with a fine tipped brush, just a tiny little bit, and dab it on the end grain of the toothpick. You can see we've created a knot there. Now don't overdo it with these. Don't want too many on any given board or in any kind of uniformity, but that's a great way to add some character to it, make it look more like the real thing. Wood for these kinds of structures would not have been real refined, so you can add, in fact, just add some knots by using the stain all by itself, or the wash in this case. Then I still have some on the brush. Always helps to build up. Don't go with too much, because it will be hard to remove.